What do you do whenever you are being strongly tempted in a certain area and everything in you wants to give in to the temptation? That's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so temptation is a part of everyday life. Jesus himself was tempted. It's not a sin to be tempted. There's no sense in praying, expecting temptation to go anywhere. And so in this video, I want to provide for you 3 strategies for how to handle temptation. And the first is to anticipate the temptation. Proverbs says, a wise person foresees danger and then takes precautions, while the simple person goes on blindly and suffers the consequences. In other words, if you're waiting around to see how you're going to respond at the time of temptation, well, guess what? It's too late. And so there are certain times in our lives where we can expect very high levels of temptation. And the first is when we are hungry. So I'm not just talking about food, I'm talking about when we are craving something in our lives that we're not getting. It could be attention, it could be affirmation, it could be money, it could be affection, it could be sex, it could be companionship, whatever it is. When we're craving something so much, but we're not getting it, those are times when we can expect a high level of temptation. Also when we're angry, or other times when we're lonely, or maybe when we're just really, really tired. And so when we're hungry, when we're angry, when we're lonely, when we're tired, it spells the word halt. And those are the times that we need to slow down. We need to get some accountability in our lives. We need to get some people around us to make sure that we don't do anything foolish. Second of all, if this is an area where you feel really weak and you feel like you're like one bad decision away from making a major mistake and giving into a certain temptation, I want to encourage you, before you get into the temptation, to ask yourself some real, hard, honest questions. And the first one is, how is this going to hurt me? How is it going to hurt my career? How is it going to hurt my reputation? How is it going to hurt me financially? How is it going to hurt me from witnessing or sharing my faith to other people who simply may just be waiting around to prove to them that my faith is actually not genuine? Second of all, how is it going to hurt the people that I love the most? How is it going to hurt and affect the people that look up to me? How is it going to change how they view me? And then finally, how will I feel about this tomorrow? Now, I know how you feel about it right now, but how are you going to feel about it tomorrow, next week, or next month? Is this going to be something that you can clearly look back on your life and see that you're going to live with regrets? So my third and final point today is probably the most practical, and that is to stop playing around with temptation. One of the main reasons why many people continue to fall again and again into temptation is because we leave it hanging around, we flirt with it, we leave the back door open, we try to get close to the line of sin without going over, all the while thinking that we are strong enough within our own strength to resist this temptation. Jesus said, if your right hand is offending you, that you need to cut it off. He didn't just say put it down, he said cut it off. And so clearly Jesus was not saying that we should physically cut our hands off, but what he was saying here is that if we know that there's something that is causing us to stumble and is tripping us up in this area of a particular temptation, he's saying that we need to be willing to take some extreme, radical steps in order to get victory in this area of temptation, because the more we entertain the thought of the temptation, the more comfortable we get with ignoring the voice that's going on inside of our head that's telling us to stop. And so the question that I want to challenge you to ask yourself today is, how badly do I really want to overcome this particular temptation? I'm not saying you got to cut your hand off, but what I am saying is, how many times can you consistently scoop hot coals of fire into your lap and not get burned? So if for whatever reason you do fall into sin, you give into a particular temptation, which happens to the best of us, don't punish yourself by depressing yourself for 3 days, thinking that you're impressing God by how depressed you are over your sin. No, God simply just says to confess your sin, which means to agree with Him that what you're doing is wrong, to accept His free gift of forgiveness, and to repent and to move on. Hey guys, thank you all so much for watching. The support has been great. As always, if this video has blessed you in any way, feel free to share it with somebody. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button above. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Beat.